How would you reply to this? I met a girl on a dating app. She keeps pushing for me to take her on a date, so I finally agreed, and then she sent me this after our phone call. Hello. It was nice talking to you. For tomorrow's date, I need to make sure you are a gentleman and know how to treat a lady. Before we confirm time and restaurant, please send me greeting flowers to my clinic. I'll give you the address. I love yellow roses. How do you feel about her setting this all up?
Is that for real, though?
I mean, he replied to comments being like, reply? I'm thinking more of a block.
Yeah.
And they said, same. In what world is this girl on the wildest thing that she's dead serious?
This is where, like, I know I'm really coming hard for men. It's only because, you know, that's who I date. But it really goes both ways.
Yes.
Like, on both ends, like, there are people that are, like, freaking wildin' out here on these streets.
Did you hear the whole fiasco about the girl that refused to go to the Cheesecake Factory?
Yes,
and she's
I did.
Like, you don't take a girl like me to the Cheesecake Factory. Like, who do you think you are? She's like, this is a chain restaurant. I can't go in there like this. She's just like wearing like a normal outfit. Didn't look like that crazy.
She's not wearing Miu Miu, please.
Even if she was.
Yeah.
I have now been to the Cheesecake Factory twice, and I must say, one was for takeout, but yeah, it counts. It was baller. It was so good.
Ambiance is great.
Yes. Oh my God. The one in Center City? Find me there any day of the week.
Yep. Facts. I will say I wouldn't love going there on a first date. That's just my preference. Yeah. I don't really love a dinner anyway for dating. Mm-hmm. Like the first few, I'm just like, maybe that's my own thing. You guys don't listen to me.
I see what you're saying about the people asking for too much, because I even have like mixed feelings about the guy paying for the girl. I hear my friend who's a guy talking about these dates, and a lot of times, and I feel like you've said this too, sometimes like within the first 5 minutes, you know that you're not like romantically interested in this person.
Yes.
And it's just a vibe. Then you're stuck there. So my friend's like, there are certain times where in the first 5 minutes, I'm like, we're just not gonna be it. You're very nice. You're beautiful, like you're great, we're not gonna date. But then you're stuck there, and he now has to pay $75 for this like meal that they're having. And is that fair? Like, is that fair for guys? So I feel like I think about it from like I have a double standard, because if I went out on a date with a guy and he was like, oh, would you want to split it? I would be like, yeah, I'm fine with that, but I would take note of it. And I'd be like, a little bit weird.
Absolutely, yeah.
But then at the same time, when my friend does it, I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't have to pay for that, like all the time. But then at the same time, I'm like, maybe you should have, but like, why should you? Just because that's what like society says? Like, I don't know. That's a hard line though.
I think a lot of times though, it's the guy asking out the girl.
True. Okay, this is a good point.
In which case, sorry.
No, true. And if a girl asks out a guy, do you think she should pay?
No.
So that's not the reason. Okay.
I don't know. I've never done it. And I won't. Just kidding. I'm in my late night mood, you guys. Anything goes with a gavel. Kelly's like, get serious.
No, I really want to think about this, because I knew a guy who was like a friend of a friend that didn't pay for first dates, and he was like someone that prides himself on making a lot of money. And he would walk around and be like, yeah, I don't pay for first dates, like we split it. And all his friends were like, what? Like, why is that the hill you're dying on? Like, nobody's gonna want to go on a second date with you.
Right.
Which I do feel like, if like, I don't know, it's really, really hard.
Can I be honest? I've only ever been on a date where I've split the bill.
What do you mean?
I've always just been paid for.
Oh, yeah.
And the one time it happened to me, I think about it a lot because of how angry it made me.
I remember that whole story. That guy was crazy.
I feel like I told it on the podcast before.
Did you? Yeah, I think I told it on the podcast for you. It was like, if you didn't listen, what?
Basically, this guy, we just had drinks dates, and then the drinks were going well. He was a chef. Just gonna say that. And he was like, wait, are you like hungry? And I'm like, yeah, like I could go for food. It was a pretty early date. Like it started early, and it was summer. So, you know, good vibes. And he was like, we should go to this place. Like my friend is the head chef there, and he'll give us like the hookup. And this place is a pretty expensive Philadelphia restaurant. It is not cheap. I was like, okay, well, if he said that he knows the chef and he's giving us the hookup, I'm not paying. That's what that means to me.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was mad, is because at the end of this date, it was like literally 90 a person. And he was like, oh, like, do you care if we split it? And I'm like, I guess. But you like
$90 for a first date, I'd be furious.
And then don't be like acting like it's going to be a free meal too on top of that.
Yeah, because if anything, he should have been like, it's a little expensive. Like, before we go there, I just want you to know it is a little expensive. So if you're down for that still, we can go. And just almost like ask you, are you willing to go to this very expensive place? I feel like that's asking, are you willing to spend money there?
Right.
And you could have been, in that moment, you could have been like, I don't really feel like spending a ton of money tonight. I'd rather go somewhere more casual and spend less. And he, I feel like, could have made his decision from there. Because then he could have been like, oh, well, you know what? I really want to go. I'll just cover it for us.
Wait, and there's another part of the story that's actually just like adds to it. Where we were getting drinks was in one part of the city and the restaurant was like very far, like not walkable.
Yes.
But I asked him, sometimes I get these headaches, right? And I'm prone to them on dates just because, like, I don't know.
Stressful.
Kind of stressful, yeah. And I was like, wait, do you care? It was a really nice spring evening. I'm like, do you care if we start walking there? Keep in mind, this is like miles. And he was so nice. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, you're not feeling well, like fresh air. And then we're about halfway there. Honestly, it was like an hour later.
Shut up.
And we still were like halfway.
Oh my God.
And I think I suggested, okay, like we can hop in an Uber now. I was worried about getting sick in the Uber.
Oh, like car sick. Okay,
yeah.
Yes, got it.
But I was like, it's literally going to be like a 7-minute drive. So we might as well just like hop in the Uber. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, okay. And we're both just like standing there. And he's like, oh, like, do you mind getting the Uber? So I paid for this Uber. And I understand that maybe that's on me because I'm the one that made us. But it was just like, it was like odd, I guess. And then that on top, when you add it on top of the dinner, it was just like, oh, okay. So I just paid for this like whole date kind of.
Yeah.
It was just interesting. But I will say, like, okay, the Uber is on me. But again, with the whole story, it doesn't paint it in a great light overall.
No, that's so annoying. I would be so annoyed if someone said, oh, my friend's the chef, he'll hook us up.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, by the way, can you Venmo me $90?
Oh my God, it was so bad.
I would have been like, no, I wouldn't. I would have done it. See, that's the thing. But I wish I would have been like, or I wish you would have been like, oh, sorry, I can't afford it. I work in a creative field.
But also, it's like I went home that night. It was like a Wednesday. And between the Uber to the first place, the Uber to the dinner, and the Uber for me back to my apartment, I'm like, I spent like $120 tonight and I could have spent $0.
Yeah.
$0.
Also, he kept the leftovers.
Yes!
He said, can you Venmo me $90 and we'll split it evenly, but I'll take all the takeaway
Not
food.
even an ask. Not even an ask of, can you tell him over it? Of like,
no, that's so annoying.
But it's honestly just, it stands out because I haven't been on many like bad dates. I'm very like lucky in that way, I guess. And that was a bad one. So it just like stands out in my mind because I'm like, oh, okay.
That's so annoying.
The way he was just like, and I'm taking this home.
Yeah, what? That's so annoying.
And he like made a comment about it. He's like, oh, like I'm set for lunch tomorrow. I'm like, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. You should have been like, oh, well, since you're taking the leftovers, why don't I pay $70 and you pay the rest?
Or how about you Venmo me back my half?
Yeah, Venmo me back my half. Or, oh, I only ate fries, so I'm only going to pay $14 instead of $90.
Oh, it was just such a funny one. It stands out to me.
Would have been so annoyed.
Yeah. I wish him well.
Right. So this girl that's asking for flowers, like, obviously, no.
That's very interesting to me.
I can't imagine being like, if you don't get me flowers, I'm not going to see you.
Yeah.
No, she's crazy. I would actually block
I would block her, unmatch her, all the things.
Yeah.